At this time, we'll go to our Office of Design and Construction monthly update. And Mr. McAllister, our Director of Design and Construction, and Chris Whitley, who represents our construction management firm.
Thank you, Dr. Hefter, members of the board. I just want to echo the appreciation of these two principals. They've both been outstanding to work with under very, very difficult circumstances, probably as difficult of renovation projects for as long a time as I've had in my career, and they've both been a joy to work with during that whole process. We'll begin with Chapin High School. Chapin, obviously we have a lot to get done there this summer. We're working feverishly in the gym. We have an overhead inspection in that area coming up this Thursday. OSF will be there to complete our overhead inspection, and then we have two additional dates with OSF in that building, one being August 1st and the next August 8th, where we're hoping on August 1st to go ahead and get the final done on the gym building, and then come back on the 8th and just work on a couple of the G building classrooms that tie into the fine arts wing. But as you can imagine, there are finishes going on within that gymnasium now. Got the bleachers basically installed. They're putting the finishing touches on that. The wood floor product is there, and they should be installing that, starting the installation process of that this week. Doors hanging, working on getting hardware done, painting obviously. And up in the kitchen building, we are currently we have the cooler, the freezer, the hood all installed for the new kitchen. And we're working on the rest of the MEP overhead and the roughing components to bring that area together. We have finally completed the parking lot behind the new gymnasium. That's installed now, and the main striping is done. I'm not sure. They're going to be coming in either this week or next week to do some band type striping that the school's requested on that. I'm not sure if that's started yet today or not, but that should be taking place. And then obviously we've been talking about the brick issue now for quite a while. We've had several more meetings with the brick manufacturers. They've come out and done a little more staining work, and I think some of you folks are going to join us there Thursday to look at that. Questions at Chapin? Okay. Moving over to Dutch Fork, again, busy summer over there, kind of wrapping up the renovation and some of the exterior work at Dutch Fork. We have a final schedule there also on August 8th. That afternoon we'll be getting the final occupancy for the renovation areas. We're currently installing finishes there, as you would expect, and bringing those areas to completion. We also have a good bit of exterior work that we're wrapping up. We have already sprigged. We sprigged last week I just didn't know it when I wrote this. We sprigged the soccer field, the new soccer field there, completing a bunch of landscaping around the building and irrigation. So we're working towards completion and should have everything in good shape for the start of school. Questions at Dutch Fork? Okay, moving on to Irmo High School. Again, Irmo is a busy place. We have an overhead inspection of the Kate building renovation that we're working on. That's scheduled for the 21st, which is a week from today. So we're working feverishly to get the overhead rough in, the ceilings, the lights dropped, so we can have a successful inspection then. We should be getting, we don't have it the time nailed down yet, but we're shooting for that first week of August to come for the final inspection of that area. As Mr. Regal noted, the auditorium, we have hanging drywall, paint, working on the stage infrastructure, stage equipment, that sort of thing. So we're continuing to push that. As he mentioned, the connectors are an area of concern, I think, for everybody as we get closer and closer to school. We've feverishly been trying to get a plan from our contractor to do that. What we're working, we want a minimum plan for them is what we're looking for. If we just need to be able to egress out of those connectors to be able to open the school, and I think we'll be able to do that. But it's we're trying to get pen to paper, so to speak, so that we can actually see how they plan on doing that. But right now, work is progressing. They were working on one of the roofs for the east, I believe it was the east side today, while they finish up steel on the west side connector. So working at getting those areas completed. Questions at Irmo? Okay, finally, the new middle school. This is probably the least pressure-packed portion of the building program that's remaining. As of right now, the work's progressing well out there. Storm drainage is pretty much installed. There'll be some slight adjustments and modifications as we get closer to completion. We have the east parking lot, the curb and gutters in, the pavement's down. So they're making good progress on the site portions of that project. And then we're still focusing on the kitchen areas where all the mechanical and electrical rooms are in terms of the building itself. We should start seeing some slabs poured this month. So they're prepping those areas now as we continue to bring that building out of the ground. Questions at the middle school? Okay, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a question going back to Irmo High School, and,
Yes,
and this might be really more directed to Mr. McAllister, but at public participation a couple of meetings ago, there was discussion about power washing to get rid of some of the stains, and was it at the very top? I'm going by the school and I don't see the stain.
There were areas at the top where we had some tar drip. Our district folks took the bucket truck over, and we took care of that 2 days after Ms. Wallman brought it to our attention. For pressure washing in front of the building, that's kind of an in-house thing, and my understanding is that the custodial crew over there we gave them some hay, I think, wasn't it, Scott, for them to put out along the bottom of it so it didn't splash mud up on the building, but it's supposed to have been pressure washed. I think that we're going to encourage them to take that show over to the west wing, to the old Kate Center, and maybe pressure wash it too. The other thing that the same folks that suggested the power washing, the schools have also now called me about the stadium. So I'm going to talk to Mr. Regal about that this evening and see if we can't get it shiny and new for the new football coach.
And this is great, and I'm delighted that, thank you, Mr. Carlin, for working on this, but there's also a middle stripe in the middle of the wall. It's a
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's kind of
It's a horizontal stripe. Is that going to be power washed too?
I think you're talking about it looks like concrete.
Yes.
I think stuck.
Yes.
We may have to be careful with that, how we treat that. Certainly it can be pressure washed. What we may need to do is apply a cleaner on that and spray it on. We have to be careful with this next system.
Okay. Okay. All right. Very good.
I think they may have tried to pressure wash it and just being careful and whatnot. I'm not sure it got accomplished what I think y'all would envision it looking cleaner than it does. I think that's what you got on it.
Okay. All right. Thank
Yeah.
you. Mr. Turner.
Mr. McAllister, I talked to Mr. Bounds today, and he covered something for me, but I would just basically state it, that we had some Irmo people concerned about the artwork and the bricks that had names on them that had been removed. They were concerned as to where that was. It had been, and I understand from Mr. Bounds, it's been stored. The bricks will be reused. The artwork may go in a different location, but we still have that. They were concerned because they didn't know what had happened to it.
We were made aware of the bricks in particular the first time we ever sat down and talked about doing Irmo High School, so I know that's been preserved. Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
The artwork, I'm not sure I know what you're talking. Okay. Was that, I didn't know whether that was the metal pieces off the building or what. I knew where that was, but I know.
I have another question about this sign for Irmo. I know that there were some zoning questions. Where do we stand with that? And will you bring that to the board once you have come up with the design?
The design we have, what we've got to determine is whether or not be annexed into the town of Irmo, and then then we see what they'll allow us. We already have the designs. As a matter of fact, I think, Dave, I think your school improvement council folks have already seen those designs, or?
Yeah, there was an alternative design that was a horizontal, more of a horizontal orientation, but very similar size that would be Lexington County School.
No.
I don't know that any decisions have been made.
No decisions have been made. What we have are 5 or 6 different options, and that way, whatever the biggest we're allowed to put up there, that's what we're going to shoot for.
Well, I would like for you to bring that to the board, and also
ma'am.
we would like to see the materials and
Okay.
be able to hold and touch those materials
Yes,
before
ma'am.
we approve it. Any other questions?
I guess a follow-up to that, from what I've understood with the zoning, that's something that may take some time, so I would assume in the meantime, we're just not going to we're not going to put something up with the fear of taking it down, so
No.
we may go some time if that's not,
Yeah.
Mr. Regal, is that correct, without a sign out there for a while? Okay.
I think it's a 3-reading process,
Yeah.
and I'm not sure where they are. Mark?
At the same time the sign issue was going on, there was, the town of Irmo expressed some interest in annexing Crossroads Middle School, Irmo Middle School, and Irmo High School to create a continuous part of their district, a part of their town. In fact, some of the businesses on the other side of Irmo High School are actually in the town, and our schools are not. And so we didn't want to move forward with Lexington County and then have a different set of rules under Irmo. So we're moving cautiously on that. But either way, whether we are in the town of Irmo, we'll use their rules. And if that doesn't work out, then we'll use Lexington County's rules.
Keith reminded me of one other thing. There's been, as have been mentioned, I think Dr. Ross kind of alluded to some of the issues we've had in renovating this kitchen at Chapin. It's approximately 30 days between some urethane floor that was under that old gym floor that nobody knew was there, the issues within the kitchen with some unsuitable soils, and then some MEP type, mainly an electrical conduit that would have basically shut down half of that school had we removed it when we got in there. But there have been some issues that may push that back a little bit further into September, which is why earlier in the spring, knowing what we had to work with, that we elected not to go ahead and begin renovating the existing cafeteria and kitchen. So worst comes to worst, they will continue to operate food-wise the way they did when they left last May, and then sometime in September we can switch them over to the new kitchen if we're not able to recapture some of that time.
Will that affect the area where the students are eating and also the schedule for the lunch, if we're just going back to what it was?
I don't believe it will affect.
What we're going to do is we plan on using free lunches just in case of the contingency. We'll start off the school year in the old cafeteria, and we'll transition to the new one on September 5th. So, but our bail schedule won't change. We plan to just give students a lot of space in the new cafeteria.
Okay, thanks.
We got them this area early with Dr. Ross's help, and anticipated that hopefully we could avoid these issues, but wasn't possible.
I also want to take this moment to thank Ms. Lovelace. John D. Lovelace has been very proactive with the brick issue at Chapin High School from the very beginning, and was very instrumental in bringing that to the board's attention, and just has been a bird dog, actually a bulldog with the bone, and which has been great because that's very important, and we really care what's for all of our schools. We want to make sure that all of our schools are just top notch. So thank you for all of your work Ms. Lovelace for helping us understand and bringing that to our attention and for not letting go of that bone. I know. Thank you.
And finally, for the superintendent's report, we'll go to our Chief Finance Officer, Lynn Richardson, for the quarterly capital report. Mr. Richardson.